You know that feeling when you walk into a place that is just visually screaming at you?
Oh, yeah?
Like a supermarket right before a holiday or a department store during a huge sale?
Totally.
Your brain just it short circuits. You stop seeing individual things and you just see like clutter and
Oh,
noise.
absolutely. It's sensory overload.
Yeah.
And we're actually hardwired to filter most of that out.
Right.
Our brains are these, efficiency engines. They immediately try to ignore the background noise and just lock onto the signal, usually whatever's brightest or loudest.
But here's the question I have. What if the signal we're locking onto is actually the least interesting thing in the room?
Mm.
And what if the real treasure, I don't know, the engineering marvel, is sitting right there in the background noise, completely invisible to us?
That is, I think, the core theme of today's deep dive.
Hmm.
We're going to challenge how we look at the world by borrowing the eyes of someone who sees things very differently.
Very differently. We are diving into a source that I honestly just fell in love with. It's a blog post from a site called chinense.org,
Okay.
and the specific post is titled Notes on Gardening, Part 809, Why the Silvery Chinese Wormwood is Often Overlooked.
Part 809. Just can we pause on that for a second?
I know, that number alone tells you everything, right? This isn't some casual Instagram gardener posting a nice picture of a leaf.
No, this is a database. This is a life's work.
And the author, Eng, describes himself in a way that I think just frames this whole discussion perfectly. He calls himself an old software plumber.
Software plumber. I love that. It's not software architect or, tech visionary.
No, it's plumber.
It's so humble, but it's also very, very specific. A plumber deals with the infrastructure.
The pipes.
The pipes, the flow, the stuff that keeps the house running, but it's all hidden behind the walls.
Hmm.
If you're a software plumber, you care about reliability, you care about efficiency, and how the system actually works, not just what it looks like on the outside.
And when you scroll through his site, you see this exact mindset applied to everything. It's this wild mix of high-tech and high nature. He's got notes on programming languages like Haskell and Elixir.
Right next to logs about betta fish breeding.
And photography and meditation. It's a digital garden in the truest sense of the word. He's cataloging his reality.
But what makes this so perfect for us today is that he takes that rigorous, systematic kind of debugging mindset and applies it to a shrub.
So our mission today is to put on those software plumber goggles. We are going to walk into a busy, chaotic garden center, ignore the flashy stuff everyone else is buying, and do a code review on a plant, the Silvery Chinese Wormwood.
I like that, a code review on a plant.
We're going to figure out why it's built the way it is, why it's usually ignored, and this is my favorite part, the very practical reason why Eng decided not to buy it.
Which is a lesson in discipline that I think we all could probably learn from.
Definitely. But first, let's set the scene. Context is everything here. The timestamp on this post is February 16th, 2026.
Okay, so mid-February.
And Eng gives us some really specific clues about what's happening. He talks about the festive rush and mentions plants like the chrysanthemum.
Right, so given the plants and the timing, we're almost certainly talking about the Lunar New Year period.
And that's crucial, isn't it?
It's everything for understanding the atmosphere.
So paint that picture for us. What does a garden center look like during that rush?
Oh, it's intense. It is just a sea of red and gold. You have people rushing around. They're looking for plants that symbolize, prosperity, luck, longevity.
Right.
The whole visual language is bold. It's about maximum impact. You want big exploding flowers. You want bright colors that are going to pop against the wall in your living room.
So the user requirement, to use a software term, is basically festive bling.
Exactly. The shoppers are optimizing for that immediate aesthetic payoff. They want the UI to be flashy.
And in the middle of all this red and gold chaos, Eng spots our protagonist, the Silvery Chinese Wormwood. And he notes that it is positioned prominently at the front of several plant centers, so it's literally in the prime real estate spots.
And yet he says it's often overlooked.
It's invisible. Why? I mean, is it ugly?
Well, ugly is subjective, but it's definitely not festive. Let's look at the specs as he lays them out. The foliage is silver gray.
Silver gray, okay. Not exactly a party color.
And the flowers. He describes them as small, yellow, and globular.
Globular, so like little yellow dots.
Little balls, basically. Now imagine that right next to a chrysanthemum.
Right.
The chrysanthemum is this massive, intricate, multi-petaled firework of a flower. It just screams, look at me.
And the wormwood is a gray bush with some yellow dots.
It's low contrast. It just fades into the background. If you're scanning the room for celebration, your eye just slides right off it. It doesn't register as a signal. It's noise.
But this is where the software plumber perspective changes everything, because Aang doesn't just see gray leaves. He walks up to the plant, he probably leans in really close, and he looks at the texture.
He notices the dense, soft hairs covering the foliage.
Now, to a normal person, a hairy plant is just kind of weird. Maybe it looks a little dusty.
Right.
But Aang knows that in nature, nothing is accidental. Evolution is like a strict accountant. You don't spend energy growing millions of tiny hairs unless they are paying their rent.
Unless they're doing a job. Exactly. It's a feature, not a bug. And Aang identifies two specific functions for this fuzz. And honestly, this is where the engineering of this plant just blows my mind.
Okay, let's break them down. What is the first function of the hair?
Solar reflection.
Okay, unpack that for me.
Think about where a plant like this evolves. It's often found in coastal areas, rocky cliffs, places with really high exposure. The sun in those environments isn't just light, it's radiation. It's a laser beam.
And plants can get sunburned, right? I mean, that's a thing.
Oh, absolutely. Intense UV radiation can damage the cellular machinery inside the leaf. The little chloroplasts doing photosynthesis. It's like a server overheating. If the hardware gets too hot, the system just crashes.
So the hairs are, what, a heat shield?
Precisely. The silver color we see isn't actually a gray pigment. It's the physics of light bouncing off those millions of tiny white hairs. It increases the albedo, the reflectivity of the leaf. It bounces the excess solar energy away before it can cook the insides.
That is so cool. So while the chrysanthemum is standing there in its party dress, the wormwood is wearing a reflective spacesuit.
Yeah.
Because it's prepared for solar warfare.
That's a great analogy. It's industrial-grade protection.
And Aang mentions a second function, which I think is even more fascinating. He says the hairs help with conserving moisture.
Yes. And to understand this one, we have to talk about wind.
Wind.
Wind is a thief. When wind blows across a smooth leaf, it just strips away the water vapor that naturally evaporates from the plant's pores. It dries the leaf out incredibly fast.
Like a hairdryer.
It's exactly like how a hairdryer works, yeah. Moving air dries things faster. So if you're a plant living on a windy cliff, you're in trouble.
Unless you have a sweater.
The hairs are a sweater. In physics terms, we call it a boundary layer. Those dense hairs trap a layer of still air right against the surface of the leaf. The wind blows over the hairs, but the air inside the fuzz stays still.
Like being inside a tent during a storm.
Exactly. And that trapped air stays humid. It creates this little microclimate right on the surface of the leaf, and it drastically reduces the rate of water loss.
So let's look at the scorecard here. We have a plant with built-in solar reflectors and a high-tech windbreaker system to save water. This thing is a survivalist.
It is pure functional code. It's written in a language like Rust or C++.
Yeah.
It's robust, it's memory safe, it's built to never ever crash.
But
it doesn't look like a party decoration.
And that brings us right back to the festive bias. Aang points this out so well. He contrasts the vibrant, large petals of the festive flowers with the understated appearance of the wormwood. It's a clash of values, isn't it?
It really is. The shoppers are optimizing for the short term. They want a plant that looks good today. They don't care if it's going to survive next summer. The wormwood is optimizing for the long game. It's playing an infinite game.
It reminds me of how we buy tech sometimes, you know? We buy the gadget that looks sleek and has the cool marketing, even if the battery life is terrible and it breaks in a year.
Yes.
We ignore the clunky, durable thing that'll last a decade.
That's the software plumber versus the consumer mindset. The plumber knows that a flashy UI often hides a really messy backend. But the wormwood, the backend is rock solid.
However, and there is a big however here, even the best code has compatibility issues. And Aang finds a bug in the wormwood system.
Or maybe it's a feature that becomes a bug under the wrong conditions.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
He notes that the plant is highly sensitive to waterlogging.
Now wait, we just said it's a survivalist. It saves water. Why does too much water kill it?
This is the paradox of specialization. The plant is engineered for scarcity. It's built to hoard every single drop. Its roots are designed to hunt for water in dry, sandy, airy soil.
So what happens when you put it in a pot and just flood it?
Well, roots need to breathe. People forget this. Roots don't just drink water, they respire. They need oxygen.
Okay.
In sandy soil, there are little air pockets between all the grains. In waterlogged soil, those air pockets fill up with water.
So the roots suffocate.
They drown. The plant literally suffocates from the bottom up. And because the wormwood is so adapted for dry conditions, it has zero tolerance for this. It has no mechanism to handle being submerged. The whole system just crashes.
Ang has this great line. It's almost like a warning label. He says this plant is an unsuitable choice for a gardener who loves to water their plants regularly.
Which is such a polite, diplomatic way of saying helicopter parents will kill this thing.
I feel so seen and so attacked by that sentence. I am 100% that gardener.
Oh, too.
I walk by my plants, I think I love you, and I express that love by pouring water on them.
The user error is love.
It is, but in software terms, it's an incompatibility. My care algorithm is water daily. The plant's operating system is drought tolerant. They're incompatible.
Exactly. And the software plumber recognizes this immediately. He knows that to keep this plant alive, you have to practice a kind of benign neglect.
You have to ignore it.
You have to ignore it. And honestly, for a lot of people, doing nothing is harder than doing something.
That's deep. The discipline of inaction.
It requires you to respect the plant's nature rather than forcing your own habits onto it.
Okay, so let's recap where we are. Ang is in the garden center. He sees the plant. He respects it. He understands the brilliant engineering of the hairs. He understands the risks of waterlogging. He even says he was tempted to purchase a specimen.
And here is where the story takes a turn that I really did not expect the first time I read it.
The moment of truth. Does the software plumber add this node to his network?
He walks away. He leaves it on the shelf.
This killed me. I thought for sure this was going to be a story about rescuing the underdog. I thought he was going to take it home and give it a better life. Why didn't he buy it?
He gives two reasons. And they are the most rational senior engineer reasons I have ever heard. They just strip all the romance out of gardening and bring it back to systems management.
What's reason number one?
Stock condition.
Quality control.
He says, and I'm quoting here, "The current condition of the stock led me to allocate my tiny budget to other plants instead." He wanted to buy it for evaluation and propagation.
Which, again, notice the language. He doesn't want to grow a flower. He wants to evaluate a specimen.
Exactly. But the specimens on the shelf weren't up to code. Imagine looking closely at those plants. Maybe they were a bit leggy, stretched out from lack of light. Maybe the soil was already soddy from the staff overwatering them.
Which happens all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
A novice gardener looks at a sick plant and thinks, I can fix it. I can nurse it back to health.
Fix our upper trap.
Exactly. But a software plumber, he knows that if you import a corrupted library into your code, or you install a broken pipe, you are just inheriting technical debt. You are signing up for months of debugging.
He looked at the root cause, literally, and said, this code base is buggy. I'm not merging this.
And that takes so much discipline. It's so hard to walk away when you want something, but you know the quality isn't there.
And the second reason he gave was just as pragmatic. The budget.
Right. He mentions a tiny budget.
Which is so interesting because we look at his site and we see, 809 gardening notes. You'd think this guy has infinite capacity, infinite resources.
But he's telling us, no, I have constraints, just like everybody else.
It's a reality check. Resources are finite. Space, money, time, it's all finite.
He viewed his garden as a portfolio. He has X amount of dollars to deploy. Does he bet that money on a risky, potentially damaged wormwood that might just die in a week?
Or does he allocate those funds to a different plan that offers a better probability of success?
It's a classic return on investment calculation.
It is.
And he chose to put his resources elsewhere. That's a cold, rational decision. But that's what keeps the whole system running. If you buy every sad plant you see, you don't have a garden, you have a plant hospice.
A plant hospice? That is painfully accurate.
But there's a deeper philosophical point here, too.
Yeah.
Ang shows that you can appreciate something without needing to own it.
Yes.
Think about the consumer culture of the festive rush. The whole point is, if I like it, I must buy it.
If it's valuable, I must possess it.
And Ang just breaks that cycle. He says, I see you, I respect your engineering, I'm even going to write a blog post about you so other people can understand you, but I'm not taking you home.
He got the value from the intellectual engagement, not from the transaction.
The joy was in the observation.
That is such a liberating idea. You can just look at things, you can understand them. You don't have to clutter your house with them to validate that experience.
It's the ultimate software plumber move. Document the system, understand the architecture, but don't install it if you don't actually need it.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've gone from the chaos of a garden center to the microscopic physics of leaf hairs to the economics of plant buying. If we zoom out, what's the big synthesis here? What are we taking away from Ang?
I think the core message is a challenge to our definition of beauty.
Functional beauty versus aesthetic beauty.
Exactly. The Silvery Chinese Wormwood is the ultimate quiet achiever. It's doing the hard work, it's reflecting radiation, it's managing moisture, it's surviving in conditions that would kill a chrysanthemum in an hour.
But it doesn't shout about it.
It doesn't shout. It's the back-end infrastructure of the natural world.
Yeah.
And because it doesn't shout, we overlook it. We walk right past it to get to the flashy stuff.
The chrysanthemum is the sales guy who promises the moon but can't actually code. The wormwood is the DevOps engineer keeping the servers up at 3 a.m. who never gets invited to the client meetings.
That is the perfect corporate analogy. And Ang is teaching us to stop and look for the engineers, to look for the things in our environment and the people in our lives that are, gray and hairy, metaphorically.
That sounds terrible when you say it like that. Look for the gray and hairy people.
You know what I mean? Look for the texture. Look for the function. Don't just scan for the bright colors. Ask yourself, why is this thing built this way? What problem is it actually solving?
The wormwood isn't gray because it's boring. It's gray because it's brilliant.
Exactly.
And the other big takeaway for me is that user error concept, the self-knowledge.
Oh, crucial. Know your own operating system.
Right. If you know you are an overwaterer, if you know you are a helicopter parent, don't buy the plant that needs neglect. It doesn't matter how cool its engineering is if it's incompatible with your habits.
It's about fit. Don't force it. There's no shame in admitting, I am not the right user for this particular hardware.
And finally, the power of no. Just the ability to walk away from a purchase because the conditions aren't right. That is a skill I desperately need to practice.
We all do, especially when that festive rush is on and everyone around us is in a buying frenzy. Standing still and saying, no, the stock condition isn't good enough is a superpower.
It really is. It's funny, we started this deep dive thinking we were going to talk about a plant, and we ended up talking about resource management, self-awareness, physics, and the philosophy of observation.
That's usually what happens when you start digging with a software plumber. You pull on a thread about a leaf, and you end up unraveling a whole system of thinking.
It's been a fascinating journey. So here is our final thought for you to carry into your day. Ang, our guide, noticed the silvery Chinese wormwood while everyone else was blinded by the festive flowers.
He saw the signal in the noise.
He saw the hidden treasure. So in your own life or your own work, who or what is your silvery Chinese wormwood?
What is that efficient, quiet, functional thing that you might be overlooking because you're too busy looking for the thing that just looks pretty?
And maybe, just maybe, take a closer look at it today. You might find some fascinating engineering underneath all that fuzz.
And if you do find it, maybe just admire it. You don't always have to buy it.
Thanks for diving in with us. See you next time.